Welcome to District Command Central, your go-to source for the latest news and updates on the Washington Commanders. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and ring the bell so you never miss a play. The Washington Commanders made a move that might not make the highlight reels, but speaks volumes about the kind of calculated thinking that's slowly becoming a hallmark of Dan Quinn's tenure. On Wednesday morning, the team announced they had signed veteran punter Mitch Wishnowsky to the practice squad, a move that came at the expense of tight end Lawrence Cager. On the surface, it might look like a minor roster shuffle, the kind of transaction that barely makes it past a footnote in the daily NFL transaction report. But dig a little deeper, and this is a move that signals prudence, preparation, and a recognition that, sometimes, even the most consistent players aren't invincible. Let's start with why this makes sense for Washington. Punter Tress Way has been the Commanders' rock for years. The guy is a model of consistency in a franchise that hasn't always had a lot of it. But NFL karma is a funny thing, and being reliable often means your luck is due to run out. In Sunday's 21-6 drubbing of the Giants, Way went down with a back injury late in the game after getting hit hard on a partially blocked punt. Injuries like that aren't just painful to watch, they ripple through an entire roster. Suddenly, a team that had a legitimate shot to build momentum off a solid Week 1 performance found itself staring down the frightening possibility of a punting crisis. And in the NFL, a punting crisis is not a theoretical concern. It's a real, game-altering problem. Field position matters, and one miscue can turn a disciplined team into a turnover-prone disaster in seconds. Enter Mitch Wishnowsky. This is not a last-minute, desperate grab off the street. No, the Commanders brought in a player who has a proven track record, someone who has already been tested under pressure. Wishnowsky, an Australian punter, spent 6 seasons with the San Francisco 49ers, posting an impressive 45.6 yards per punt average and demonstrating the kind of consistency and mental toughness that makes NFL teams comfortable trusting him in critical moments. He was even drafted in the 4th round back in 2019, a rare investment for a punter, which underscores just how highly the 49ers valued his potential. But it's not just about booming kicks, it's about placement. During his tenure in San Francisco, 44.5% of his punts landed inside the 20-yard line. That's surgical precision, the kind of punting that doesn't just flip field position but actively helps an offense recover from mistakes, keeps opposing offenses pinned deep, and, on a cold Thursday night in Green Bay, could make all the difference between a manageable defensive series and giving up a quick score. Tress Way's status adds layers to this story. Reports from Tuesday's practice indicated that Way was limited, which, in NFL shorthand, translates to he's probably fine, but we're not rolling the dice. Quinn, ever the optimist, suggested that the concern level had dropped and that Way was hitting the ball well in practice. But here's the thing about short weeks. They are brutal. Thursday night football comes at you fast, and there's no time to nurse injuries, no luxury of extra reps, no room for a player to slowly shake off discomfort. The Commanders' decision to work out not one, but 2 punters, Wishnowsky and rookie Eddie Zaplicki, on Tuesday is a tacit admission that they are preparing for every contingency. This is not panic. It's insurance, the kind of preemptive thinking that prevents a small problem from becoming a disaster. And make no mistake, showing up in Lambeau Field without a reliable punter is a recipe for field position disasters, poor momentum, and unnecessary pressure on the offense and defense alike. Then there's the human element. Lawrence Cager, the tight end who was released to make room for this roster maneuver. Cager's story is one of quiet, relentless work, the kind of grind that rarely makes headlines but is the lifeblood of practice squads across the NFL. With 4 catches for 54 yards in the preseason, he had shown flashes of competence, yet the cold, brutal logic of the league intervened. With Zach Ertz entrenched as the starter, Cager's chances for meaningful playing time were slim. Releasing him to bring in a veteran punter might sting, but it reflects the unglamorous reality of NFL roster management. One man's misfortune is another man's opportunity, and in this case, the team prioritized preparation over sentimentality, a theme that seems increasingly prevalent under Quinn's management. Looking ahead to Thursday night, the stakes become even clearer. If Way can't go, Wishnowsky is thrust into a spotlight that would rattle even seasoned professionals. Lambeau Field, national television, a hostile crowd. and a team hoping to build momentum on the heels of a strong Week 1 showing. But Wisniewski has been here before. His time in San Francisco included playoff games, primetime slots, and games in some of the league's toughest environments. This is a punter who knows how to handle pressure, someone who won't wilt under the bright lights or let a key part of the game slip through his fingers. For the Commanders, this is a low-risk, high-reward move. If Wei heals and suits up, they've added insurance without disrupting the chemistry. If Wei falters, they have a ready-made replacement who can step in without missing a beat. Strategically, this move speaks volumes about the evolution of the Commanders as a franchise. There was a time when this organization relied on hope and wishful thinking, throwing a quarterback onto the field well past his prime, hoping luck would carry the day. Those days are fading. Today, Quinn and his staff are planning for contingencies, thinking ahead, and making moves that reflect an understanding of both the fragility and the demands of an NFL season. Adding Wisniewski is not just about covering a potential injury. It's about demonstrating that the Commanders have learned from the past and are willing to be proactive. It's a subtle shift, almost invisible to the casual fan, but crucial to the team's long-term competitiveness. In a league where small margins often decide games, where a poorly timed punt or a single lapse in field position can dictate the outcome, the decision to add Mitch Wisniewski represents more than roster management. It's a statement. It says that Washington is thinking beyond the immediate scoreboard, beyond the optics of a single week, and toward sustainable success. The move may not dominate highlight reels, and Cager's release might not make fans happy, but these are the kinds of decisions that, quietly, build the foundation for a team that can weather the inevitable storms of an NFL season. By securing a reliable punter with playoff experience, the Commanders are essentially buying themselves peace of mind. In a league where uncertainty is constant, that's no small thing. When the team takes the field in Green Bay, the eyes of the football world may not linger on the punter. After all, he is, by definition, a player whose contributions are often invisible unless things go wrong. But for Washington, the presence of Mitch Wisniewski on the roster could be the difference between a manageable Thursday night contest and a field position nightmare. This is the kind of calculated, low-drama roster maneuver that can define a season without ever making a sound. It's insurance, it's strategy, and it's a reflection of a franchise slowly embracing foresight over wishful thinking. For fans watching the game unfold under the lights in Lambeau, the punter might barely register, but behind the scenes, the Commanders have just made a move that ensures, at least in one crucial phase of the game, they are prepared for anything. If you're enjoying the coverage, make sure to smash that like button and drop a comment with your thoughts on the Commanders' latest moves. We want to hear from you. The sports world is buzzing today, and the NFL itself has officially confirmed what many fans have been whispering about in the corridors of stadiums and on social media for weeks. A major shakeup is happening, and it has sent shockwaves through the entire football community. According to the league's announcement, the game between the Green Bay Packers and the Washington Commanders has been canceled, sparking an immediate firestorm of controversy and speculation that shows no sign of dying down anytime soon. The news has circulated like wildfire, and now everyone from diehard fans to casual observers is scrambling to understand exactly what happened, why it happened, and what this means for the rest of the season. Social media platforms are exploding with theories, rumors, and outright disbelief, with hashtags trending faster than any typical sports news cycle could ever expect. Some people are framing this as an unprecedented moment in NFL history, and others are convinced there's a deeper story behind the decision, one that might involve conflicts behind closed doors, potential player protests, or operational mishaps that the league is trying hard to control before it spirals out of hand. Inside the NFL, sources whisper of tension and last-minute deliberations that reached all the way up to the league office. While official statements remain carefully measured and strategically vague, insiders hint that the cancellation wasn't a spur-of-the-moment decision, but rather the culmination of weeks of mounting issues. Some reports suggest that logistical complications played a role, possibly linked to stadium infrastructure, security concerns, or even scheduling conflicts with other major events that overlap with the venue's commitments. Others, however, are leaning toward a more dramatic narrative, suggesting that internal disagreements between league executives, coaching staff, and team owners may have accelerated the decision. Rumors are also circulating that certain players voiced dissatisfaction or concerns over specific aspects of the game. And while the NFL is notorious for managing player relations behind a polished public facade, it wouldn't be the first time that behind-the-scenes disputes influenced high-level decisions. Whatever the cause, the decision to cancel a game featuring two of the league's most storied franchises has undeniably shaken the football landscape, leaving fans, analysts, and even casual observers scrambling to make sense of the unfolding saga. Reaction on social media has been instantaneous and polarized. Fans of the Packers and Commanders are particularly vocal, with posts ranging from disbelief to outrage. Many argue that canceling the game undermines the competitive integrity of the league, pointing out that every matchup carries critical weight in the context of playoff standings and individual player milestones. Others speculate that this cancellation could set a precedent, opening the door to further disruptions later in the season and fueling a narrative of instability within the league that NFL leadership has spent decades trying to avoid. Some are joking about conspiracy theories, everything from intentional manipulation to boost television ratings to secret negotiations over player contracts. But beneath the humor lies a genuine unease about how such a significant decision could be made at a moment's notice. Analysts on sports networks are dissecting every possible angle, from financial implications to team morale, while fan forums are crowded with threads attempting to predict which team, if any, will be most affected by the cancellation in terms of momentum, chemistry, and future strategy. The dialogue online has taken on an almost feverish quality, reflecting the intensity of the NFL fanbase and the heightened stakes involved when a game is suddenly erased from the schedule. The cancellation also raises broader questions about the operational and governance structures within the NFL. Observers are asking whether there is sufficient contingency planning for unforeseen disruptions and whether league leadership is prepared to handle the backlash. In recent years, the NFL has faced a series of challenges ranging from player safety protocols to controversial officiating decisions, and now this event adds another layer of complexity to its reputation management. Some insiders are suggesting that the league's decision to cancel, rather than postpone or reschedule, may have been influenced by legal considerations, insurance concerns, or contractual obligations tied to broadcasting rights. Broadcasters themselves are reportedly scrambling to fill the sudden void, as the game was slated to attract substantial viewership and advertising revenue. Rumors suggest that emergency meetings were held with media partners to renegotiate terms or adjust programming, highlighting just how interconnected the decision is with the league's broader financial ecosystem. Meanwhile, the teams involved are facing an entirely different set of pressures. Players, coaches, and support staff have invested countless hours preparing for this game, and the sudden cancellation leaves not only logistical headaches, but also emotional and strategic challenges. There's speculation that locker room morale could be affected, as athletes accustomed to a regimented schedule are suddenly forced into an unplanned break. Analysts are debating whether this interruption could benefit or harm either team, with some suggesting that players might use the unexpected downtime to heal minor injuries or focus on practice, while others worry about losing momentum or focus in the high-pressure environment of professional football. The ripple effects are likely to be felt in subsequent games, particularly if teams need to adjust training schedules, travel plans, and tactical preparations. Fan communities have been particularly active in interpreting the cancellation through various lenses. Some have drawn parallels with previous NFL disruptions, comparing this moment to lockouts, strikes, or pandemic-related cancellations. Others have focused on the narrative dimension, treating the incident as a dramatic plot twist in the unfolding story of the season, full of intrigue, speculation, and potential fallout. The collective sentiment is a mix of fascination and frustration. Fascination because it's rare to see such a high-profile game removed from the schedule so abruptly, and frustration because the reasons remain officially under wraps, leaving fans to rely on rumors, leaks, and insider commentary. Every sports podcast, news outlet, and social media thread is now engaged in a kind of collective investigation, piecing together clues and generating theories that range from the plausible to the sensational. As the dust begins to settle, one thing is clear. The NFL has ignited a conversation that extends far beyond the boundaries of the football field. Questions of transparency, decision-making authority, and fan engagement are now at the forefront of discussions about the league. Observers are asking whether the league will implement new policies to prevent similar situations in the future or whether this event will become one of those legendary what-if moments that fans and historians talk about for decades. The cancellation has also prompted broader debates about the balance between commercial interests and competitive fairness, as well as the responsibilities of the league to its players, fans, and media partners. Every stakeholder, from team executives to television networks to merchandise vendors, feels the ripple effects, and the long-term consequences may not be fully understood for months or even years. In the midst of all this speculation, the human stories behind the headlines remain compelling. Fans are posting personal reactions, from disappointment over lost traditions to excitement about the mystery and drama surrounding the decision. Players and coaches are navigating the challenge of maintaining focus and motivation while dealing with uncertainty. Journalists are chasing leads and attempting to uncover insider information that might explain what, on the surface, appears to be a sudden and disruptive choice. The narrative is unfolding in real time, with new twists emerging daily, and the story of the canceled Packers-Commanders matchup has become a cultural phenomenon in its own right, transcending mere sports coverage and entering the realm of a larger public conversation about authority, transparency, and trust in institutions. As this saga continues, one thing is certain. The NFL has created a story that will be remembered and dissected for years. The cancellation of the Packers versus Commanders game is more than just a single incident. It is a lens through which the complexities of modern professional sports, organizational decision-making, and fan engagement can be examined. The buzz, the rumors, and the debates are far from over, and fans across the country, and even globally, will be watching closely for any signs of resolution, explanation, or further controversy. Whether this will be a one-time anomaly or the start of a broader pattern remains to be seen, but for now, the league has succeeded in capturing the collective imagination of the football world. The whispers, the hot takes, the leaked insider info, and the endless speculation are all converging into a single, undeniable fact. In the NFL, nothing is ever straightforward, and even a canceled game can become a headline that dominates conversation for weeks. Fans, analysts, and players alike are left to ponder the implications, theorize about motives, and brace themselves for whatever twists the league may deliver next. Thanks for tuning into District Command Central. Make sure to subscribe and follow us for all the Commanders news you need. Until next time, keep the faith and hail to the Commanders.